All right, let's jump right into a really fascinating idea from a classic Harvard Business Review article by Chris Argryis. It tackles this question: why is it that the smartest, most successful people in a company are often the absolute worst at learning and getting better?
I mean, it's a huge paradox, right? You've got these highly educated, top-performing pros that companies depend on. But the minute they face some criticism, or even failure, their ability to learn can just completely shut down. We're going to get to the bottom of why that happens, and more importantly, what we can actually do about it.
So the article actually gives this a name: the professional's dilemma. It's this strange situation where the very people who champion continuous improvement for everyone else become these massive roadblocks when it comes to their own work. Their own commitment to being excellent somehow becomes the biggest thing standing in their way.
And here it is. This is the heart of the problem. They've had such a long history of success, acing tests in school, climbing the ladder at work, that they've just never really failed. And because of that, they never built up the mental and emotional muscles you need to deal with things when they don't go perfectly.
So what happens? Well, that lack of practice leads to this psychological trap. It's a way of thinking that protects us in the moment, but really hurts us in the long run. And it's called defensive reasoning.
Now, to really get what that trap is, we first have to understand how most of us learn most of the time. It's called single-loop learning. Think about a thermostat. The room gets too cold, it clicks on the heat. Simple. It's just fixing the immediate problem, the symptom. And yeah, it works, but it's pretty limited.
But then there's double-loop learning. This goes so much deeper. Now the thermostat doesn't just react. It starts asking questions about its own programming. It's like it's asking, wait a minute, why am I even set to 68 degrees? Who decided that? Is that even the right temperature? This is where the real, game-changing learning happens. You're not just fixing the symptom, you're digging for the root cause.
And this really gets to the heart of it. The questions are just fundamentally different. Single loop is all about, are we doing things right? Improving our technique. But double loop asks, are we doing the right things? It questions the whole strategy, the basic beliefs behind what we're doing. It's the difference between making a car a little more fuel efficient versus asking if we should even be driving a car in the first place.
Argryis, the author, saw this play out perfectly in his study he did with a group of elite management consultants. I mean, these were the best of the best, hired to solve incredibly complex problems, and they were masters of single-loop learning. But when their own work got questioned, a totally different side came out.
You have to listen to what's going on underneath the words here. The manager says, hey, the clients aren't buying our analysis. Now, did the consultants ask, what might be wrong with our analysis? No way. They immediately jump to blaming the clients. The unspoken message is, the clients are just resistant, or they don't get it. The problem is instantly pushed outside.
So what's driving this? It's that defensive reasoning we talked about. It's like this master program running in the background of our brains, and its only job is to protect our ego. Its rules are simple: avoid feeling embarrassed, never look like you don't know what you're doing, and always stay in control. The huge problem, of course, is that those rules are the exact opposite of what you need to actually learn.
And this image here, it perfectly shows where that defensive programming leads. It traps these super smart people in what the consultants themselves called a doom loop. Because their entire sense of self-worth is tied to being right and performing perfectly, any little mistake feels like a massive threat.
And man, is this loop vicious. You can see how it works. Something goes wrong, which leads to feelings of shame or embarrassment. That feeling triggers a defensive reaction, blame somebody else, make excuses. And because of that defensiveness, no real learning can happen. You never actually figure out why the mistake was made in the first place, which pretty much guarantees it's going to happen again. We've all been there, right?
Okay, so that's the doom loop. The big question is, how do you break out? Are we just stuck with this defensive instinct forever? Well, the article argues no. It is possible to reprogram ourselves by swapping out that defensive thinking for something new.
And the antidote is called productive reasoning. You can think of it like installing a new operating system for your brain. It's a very conscious, very deliberate way of thinking that's designed to open you up to learning instead of just protecting your ego.
It runs on a few really simple but incredibly powerful rules. The whole point is transparency. You lay your thinking out on the table for everyone to see. You show them the data you used, and this is the most important part. You actively invite people to poke holes in your argument, to challenge you. That's how you unlock that double-loop learning. And this right here, this is the whole game. It's a huge mindset shift. In a normal defensive culture, questioning someone feels like an attack. But in a productive culture, questioning is a gift. It's a chance for everybody in the room to learn something new and to get to a much better answer together. So this all sounds great in theory, but how do you actually practice it? How do you take this from an idea to a real skill? Well, let's get super practical and look at an exercise you can actually use with your team.
Okay, it's called the 2-column case study. It's simple. On the right side of the page, you literally write out a script for a tough conversation about a real problem you're facing. But then, on the left side, you write down everything you're thinking and feeling, but that you would never say out loud. That left-hand column, that's where the magic is. That's where you find the gold. It reveals all those hidden defensive routines. It shows you the massive gap between what you say and what you actually think. And by looking at those hidden thoughts, you can finally start to see how your own unspoken beliefs are actually creating the very mess you're trying to clean up.
And look, let's be real. This is not easy work. It can feel really uncomfortable, maybe even painful, to look at your own defensiveness so directly. But the argument here is that it's the only way. It's the only path to building teams and organizations that can truly learn, adapt, and actually get better. So, if we boil it all down, the big takeaway is this. Real learning isn't just about cramming in new facts. It's about being brave enough to rewire how we think and react. So I'll just leave you with this question to chew on. What's the one conversation you know you're avoiding? And what would it look like to start rescripting it, not defensively, but productively?